like I said, it's like a long distance runner trying to all of a sudden be a sprinter. Well, what are you? Are you a sprinter or are you a long distance runner? Do you want to focus on Bach or do you want to focus on scales? Which one? One or the other. You can't do both. Hello and welcome. This is Corey from The Well-Rounded Pianist. Let me please explain why I have this little doggy next to me and why I'm sitting on a sofa instead of riding around on my bicycle. Well, I live in Florida. Many of you know that. And it's 44 degrees today in Florida. I mean, I know for you northerners, that's nothing. That's like, nothing. You'd be out in shorts and a t-shirt. 44 is really cold for Florida. I mean, I've lived in Florida 25 years and I can't ride around on my bike today. So I'm gonna pretend like I'm riding my bike, and this will be one of my bicycle vlog episodes, my new series that I'm making here, Bicycle Vlog, where I discuss issues of piano practice and performance. So I'm just going to pretend like I'm riding a bicycle here, and I'm going to sit here with my cute little dog, Cookie, and talk about a topic that is dear to my heart, and that has to do with scales and why scales are basically, well, useless when you play Bach, or if you want to prepare yourself to play Bach's music on the piano. Traditional scale practice is almost useless. Now, let me explain. I know you're probably putting mean comments already, but let me explain. Okay. I had a student not long ago, maybe about a year ago, sign up for a trial lesson. By the way, I'm available for lessons, so if you'd like to try me out for piano lessons, I'd love to teach you. Anyway, I had a student, a young student, probably in his mid-20s, early 20s or so, and a very hardworking student, was not very advanced. He was sort of maybe upper intermediate level, maybe grade 4 level, not terribly advanced. And he had big ambitions. He wanted to play all the scales and play them at like fast speeds. Well, I discovered that because I asked him. I said, "Well, what are your goals? What do you want to do?" And his first goal was to learn Bach. He loved Bach and he wanted to learn Bach on the piano, and that's why he signed up with me. I'm, I guess, the Bach scholar. Well, and then I said, and then I asked him, what exercises and kinds of things have you been doing? And he said, oh, I'm trying to play all the scales 4 octaves, and my goal is 180, like recording it on it was a really fast speed. I said, I just broke the news to him right there. I said, look, scales are going to do you nothing for playing Bach. You don't need 4 octave scales played at 144 or 180 or whatever, like Chopin etude speeds. You do not need to play scales at Chopin etude speeds in order to play Bach. In fact, it is a very bad idea because it's a waste of time. You're going to waste a lot of time on 4 octave scales, because can you name a Bach composition with 4 octave scales in them? In fact, can you name a Bach composition with any scales in them? Well, yeah, a few of them. The Italian Concerto, the 3rd movement of the Italian Concerto has scales. You know how long the scale is there? It's like an octave and a half. It's not even a 2 octave scale in the Italian Concerto. There's the Chromatic Fantasy and Fugue. I think that has some relatively long scale runs, at least for Bach. But when you look at the large scheme of things, when you look at Bach's total output, like his complete well-tempered clavier, for example, can you find a scale passage? Can you find scales anywhere in the well-tempered clavier. I can't find any. I mean, the only thing that exists with scales in the well-tempered clavier is partial scales. Perhaps 1-octave scales, even less than 1-octave scales, like 6-note scales. 6-note scales, or, going. So my advice when you're learning, if you want to learn Bach, if you really want to hone in and learn Bach, do not waste time on 4-octave scales. It's just an utter waste of time. You're better off sticking to 2-octave scales, and even 2-octave scales are too much. If you really want to play Bach, you need to focus on the small scales, like octaves and less, and do minimalist exercises with 1, 2, and 3. Minimalist exercises. This means that if you look at Bach's music, it's not like Chopin, where you have long scale passages going up and down. Because 4-octave scales played at Chopin etude tempos, yeah, that's great for romantic music, or if you're entering a conservatory and you have to do it, like for your testing. But if you're an amateur pianist, or even a professional pianist, you don't even have, it doesn't matter. If you want to focus on Bach, you are wasting your time with long scales. And so what you need to do is focus on the small scales and the partial scales and the minimalist techniques. You can check out my article, Minimalist Piano Fingering, in which I discuss the role of 1, 2, and 3. In playing Bach, it's much more important that you practice 1, 2, and 3, these fingers, than 4 and 5. So traditional scales and Hanon and everything like that have you. It's a very overly disciplined approach where you have to always try to strengthen 4 and 5. But when you look at Bach's music, it's not like that. You can play a lot of Bach's music without using your 5th finger. Most of Bach's music is little micro scales. They're not like full 4-octave scales going 144, but they're partial or micro scales only going like 6 notes back and forth. So what you need to do, if you want to prepare yourself well for Bach, is practice minimalist techniques and just do them over and over again. Also realize this, that Bach's fastest tempo was only 108. Bach's presto was only 108 beats per minute. Bach's allegro, Bach had 2 allegro speeds. His slower allegro was 84 and his faster allegro was 96. So 3 of Bach's fastest tempos are 84, 96, and 108. That being the case, you can see those are the fastest tempos. So if you take Bach's average tempo, if you took all of Bach's keyboard works, the average tempo for all of Bach's keyboard works would be around probably 63. And that was known as the tempo ordinario. So you're well off focusing on really trying to hone in on getting that speed down. Work on 63 beats per minute. I know that's slow in the conservatory world. Yes, I know 63 is slow. But being a virtuoso and playing Bach's music is not about speed. It's about control. So the better you're able to practice partial scales and micro scales, I guess that's a new term I just invented, or I guess micro scales, partial scales, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and going back and forth with 3 fingers. This is something you're not going to train if you only focus on the long scales. It's like long distance runners. If you only focus on 4-octave scales up and down the keyboard and try to go as fast as possible, that's like a long distance runner. That's like a marathon runner. Doing these little partial micro scales is like being a sprinter. Long distance runners and sprinters have entirely different training regimens, and because they're doing entirely different things. So let me get back to my student. I explained to him I explained to him, and this was his first lesson, his trial lesson. I explained that, yeah, that's great. You want to play Bach. Let's work on your Bach. And I also told him this. I said, but I wouldn't really spend much time on those 4-octave scales trying to get those at 180 or whatever, because that's not going to help you play Bach. Playing scales up and down at fast tempos are not going to prepare you any way to play Bach chorales. It's not going to prepare you in any way to play Bach fugues. A Bach fugue has nothing to do with scales. It has everything to do with vertical style chords, as I teach in my book, Sight Reading and Harmony. So really, think about it. Bach is a totally different thing than romantic piano music. Remember, Bach's fastest tempos were only 84, 96, and 108. So does it really make any sense to break your back to try to get to upward the speeds of 144, 160, or 180 when we know good and well that, or I know good and well, maybe you don't know yet, but I'll tell you, Bach's fastest tempo was 108. So if you want to play Bach, you would be better off focusing on the small scales than the 4-octave scales, and focusing on the chords, chord playing and the release of the notes and the finger independence. That's how you will be able to play Bach. It's interesting, I just thought of the 4th invention in D minor. Da, 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 da. That's like a partial scale going up and down. And it doesn't even go that fast. It's not even that fast. It's not like, it's not like a Chopin etude. So you're not going to achieve anything by trying to be able to play breakneck speeds when those things are totally irrelevant to Bach playing. Like I said, it's like a long distance runner trying to all of a sudden be a sprinter. Well, what are you? Are you a sprinter or are you a long distance runner? Do you want to focus on Bach or do you want to focus on scales? Which one? One or the other. You can't do both. So anyway, what happens, let me tell you the end of this story. My student, sadly, did not sign up again with me because I brought him bad news. He didn't like me telling him that he was wasting his time on 4-octave scales and that would not help him with his Bach playing. It's a waste of time. Do not play 4-octave scale. Don't waste your time anymore on scales, long scales. Focus on partial scales and micro scales and focus on the thumb. The thumb is the most important finger in Bach playing. You need to exercise your thumb and do these exercises that I promote in my minimalist fingering system. You can read about that and look at some of the exercises there. It's all about fast micro movements with your fingers rather than long, drawn out scales up and down the keyboard, because you never have that in Bach. Bach doesn't have scales, generally speaking. Brahms doesn't either. Maybe that's another topic. Anyway, thank you for joining me today. And it's wonderful that little Cookie could join us too. So thank you for this. It was supposed to be a bicycle vlog, but like I said, it's too cold. So thank you for joining me today, and join me in my next video where I will talk about more exciting topics on piano performance and practice.